And we're rolling.
Hello.
Hey, everybody.
Hey.
So good to see you all. So it is, what's the day today? It's December 26th, the day right after Christmas. The end of 2020. And we are all hanging out because, first of all, we haven't seen each other in forever because Aaron is a West Coast guy these days. And I haven't
also
seen
COVID.
Also COVID, yeah. We're still in a pandemic. That's still happening and is going to happen forever. And it's never going to stop. It's just our life now. But 2021, we realized a couple weeks ago, is the 10-year anniversary of Statement of Purpose, which is an album that we are all very, very proud of. I'm very, very proud of. I'm going to stop talking for everybody.
No, you're right. I would say that's true for everybody.
Yeah.
I think that was the best thing.
Nate has some darkness in him. He's like, no, it's not good.
From what I remember, it's really good.
So we gathered gang together and we decided to talk about the record and go through it track by track in case anybody was interested in hearing our thoughts 10 years after the fact. So let's take a moment. Let's take a moment and I want to introduce everybody so everybody remembers who is who. Kevin?
I'm Kevin Billingsley. I played guitar on Statement of Purpose. I still play guitar in Too Late the Hero when it is still a band, which is seldom these days.
I'm Aaron. I played drums on Statement of Purpose, was in the band from 2003 to 2014.
2003? Is that when the band started?
Yep.
Jeez.
I knew that. And I wasn't even there.
I'm glad you threw the dates out because I was like, I'm Nate. I played bass on Statement of Purpose. I was in the band for a long time. I'm no longer in the band.
Apparently from 2003.
2003 to 2013, I guess.
Yeah, something like that.
Right.
Yeah,
wasn't that long before. Yeah.
I'm Jack. I play guitar on Statement of Purpose. I still play in the band when the band does things. I joined around the same time as Kev, and that was in 2008?
7.
You joined in 07. I joined in early 08. Correct.
Yeah, I moved out in 08, but I joined in 07.
And I'm Jared Wilbur, and I sing in Too Late the Hero, and I still sing in Too Late the Hero, and I will probably always sing in Too Late the Hero.
Just like damned to do it for life, for eternity.
And Kevin, I don't know what you have going on in your background, but it's definitely going to get us kicked off of YouTube because we're showing NFL playback or something.
Damn it. I'll go this way. Let me go this way.
All right. So I kind of want to talk about our general thoughts and a little bit of background on the record because this was a big deal for us because we had been apparently playing in a band since 2003. And then in 2011, we actually got a record deal and had money, and we were going to go to New York and record on an album. And my brother, Josh Wilbur, who had produced all of our records at that point and is a prolific producer, he was actually going to get paid to record us for the first time and only time. But
yeah, never again either. Never paid him again.
Yeah, for sure.
Never again.
No.
But yeah, we actually had some money, so we were able to get an apartment.
Yeah.
Does anybody?
That goddamn apartment.
Yeah, and I believe, if I'm not wrong, our album came out 2011. It came out in 2011, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I thought we were cutting in 2010.
We did, yeah. So that was fall of 2010.
Yeah.
That we went down to New York. And I remember quitting my job and just being so psyched because I fucking hated it so much. I was like, I'm set. I'm out of here. And then, yeah, I found an apartment and Josh went and just paid it out up front before we even had money because he's such a nice guy. Yeah. He was like, yeah, I paid for 2 months. We were like, what the fuck?
I never knew who orchestrated that. We always just got there and I just assumed.
Yeah, I found the place, but it was me, Aaron, I think, Jared, we were all kind of looking at places down there for a long time.
And we were so sticker shocked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think it was like $2,000 a month, and that was like a year's worth of rent in Maine.
Exactly.
Yeah, especially for like that place was like a 400 square foot place.
Yeah. And I talked the lady down to 1,700 because that's what we could afford.
Oh,
She
damn.
was cool with that.
Yeah, the sink was the toilet.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think it was one of those.
For all of our Maine friends that are listening to us have been like talking, where did they hear that rent? They're like, oh, it must have been a nice place. It was a basement, like it was one room and the bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
And we all bought a bunch of camping inflatable beds, and we all just slept on the concrete floor in this room.
And there was a tornado.
Yep.
Y'all remember the tornado?
Yes.
And during this, there's like the only tornado ever in Queens. Like, of course, we have to, luckily we're in the basement apartment, but I remember Kevin screaming, waking up in the morning because the basement had flooded, and one of his
flooded.
One of your fucking socks had plugged the center drain.
Yeah, the room had a drain.
Yeah, and you were stuck. You were in the middle, just like kind of like slowly spinning on your fucking air mattress with a goddamn sock stuck in the drain.
Well, that's why I thought I was a crazy person, because I woke up and the sun was just kind of coming up and we could hear the wind going, and I go to get out of bed and I put my hand down and it's just like covers my hand in water. And I also noticed that I'm just kind of spinning.
Yeah.
And I was like, guys, get up! And everyone's like,
well, we had already drowned in your mind.
And everyone else is just on the high ground.
Yeah.
Just bone dry, and I'm just swimming in a little puddle.
Yeah, in your mind, we're all dead.
We also used that tornado to our advantage because we had my car down there, and parking was always a nightmare. And after the tornado happened, a huge branch nearby had fallen. So we would just, with 4 or 5 of us, lift this huge branch onto the sidewalk, park my car, and then when we left in the morning, we would put the branch back to save our spot.
And Tyler was with us, and Tyler helped out.
We did that for a month.
Yep.
We saved our parking space for a month because it took all 5 of us. Because Aaron says branch, it was like half of a tree.
Yeah,
and it took all 5 of us to manhandle it. We're like, no one's moving that. It's staying in that parking space.
Mm-hmm.
It was great.
That's such a main thing.
It was a nice neighborhood though. It's not like we were in like the slums. It was a good area.
It was the fucking best time. We bought like a bunch of boards, and we would skate to the studio and like just get to hang out and write music, and we had all quit our jobs.
You make that sound cooler than it was, because some of you guys skateboarded. Some of us don't know how to skateboard, so we were on Razor scooters.
Yes, there were 2 Razor scooters in the mix.
I alternated depending on how brave I was feeling on any given day.
Dude, the Razor's dope.
Yeah.
Less falls.
It's true.
But
unless you came across one pebble.
Nate had many a rage quit.
Oh yeah.
Nate was perpetually 100 feet behind us walking with his skateboard.
Well, it's because we just went like full force. Like there was no warm up. It was just like 0 to 60.
Yeah.
And then whoever ate shit had to walk from behind, and that was me.
Because we had all decided that this was like our big break, it was coming out on a label, we also decided we were going to get in shape. So I illegally downloaded P90X, and we were all, after recording, we would go up on the roof of the studio and do like fucking P90X.
How amazing was that? The fact that we could do that, first of all, just go this, because the studio was in it was in Manhattan. Right?
It was also
it was in Queens.
It was in Queens, yeah.
Yeah.
But like, just go up on the roof of this building and just a bunch of dudes just doing P90X.
Yeah.
Karate on Thursday.
Yeah, I thought it reminded
Thursday.
me of fucking like Raphael doing his fucking moves on the roof.
Yeah, Casey Jones was looking at us through the binoculars.
Exactly.
TMMT.
Dude,
I think I said the right initials.
Yeah, nailed it.
All right, so that was fucking. We recorded at Spin Studios in Queens. Josh Wilbur producing. Paul, our good boy Paul Suarez, was engineering.
Yep.
And it was just like we've all been friends for years. Obviously, my brother is my brother, so I've known him for quite some time, and it was just a fucking blast.
It was super good.
So we should probably I wanted to walk through the album track by track, talk about the songs, anything that anybody remembers. And the first song of the album is Hold Your Applause. You wrote that song and have never played a show without it since.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that song happened like super quick. And that's one of the songs that I always get pissed at myself now when I try to write a song, because that song just fell out in like 20 minutes. Like demoed MIDI drums, like
Correct me if I'm wrong, Kevin. My memory of recording that is I remember you wrote like 4 or 5 parts, and you only played each part once, and then you just like sent them like, I got parts. And my memory of that song is Aaron and me sat on my couch. We had just both gotten GarageBand for like the first time, and we took your parts, and Aaron and I just like copy paste. Like the song together, like
there was a fair amount
this
of
sounds
that.
like this riff sounds like a chorus. So you basically gave us a care package of riffs, like.
Well, I mean, it was a cohesive thing. It wasn't like here's part A, part B. Like it was a very stream of consciousness thing that I just blasted out like a 3-minute riff fest. And that's when you guys kind of took it. You're like, this part's the chorus. This part needs to happen again. But that first iteration happened so fast that anytime I've ever tried to write a song since then, if it takes me more than a half hour, I'm like, I'm wasting my time because it's not going to happen. So that one always bums me out because of that. But that's one of my favorite songs ever.
Absolutely. Josh made a significant change to the song, which made it like the song it is. Because since it was just like a stream of consciousness collection of riffs from you, Kevin, the chorus, the drums that you put on the chorus part were the double time at the end.
Yep.
It was the
I don't
fast
remember
version. That. So since Aaron and I just copy pasted it together, that was the version of the chorus, and it was still like dope. And I like wrote vocals to that. But when we got in and did pre-pro, Josh was like, "Hear me out. Let's half time the chorus." And we like doubted him for some reason, but as soon as Aaron laid it down, we were like, holy shit.
I remember that now. Yeah, you're right. That was a game changer for
that was
sure.
something like
and we used to open with that. And when we went on the Memphis May Fire tour, one of the other bands, and I don't remember who, I remember who it was, I don't remember his name.
It was the screamer from Us From Outside.
Yes, I don't remember his name, unfortunately. Tommy. There you go. Suggested that we close with it. He's like, you guys are opening with that and nobody's paying attention to you. And then they hear you from outside, they come in, and then they've missed that song. And that's your best song. And so we moved that to the closer of the set. And I was so relieved because that song sucks to open with on drums. It's so fast.
Guitar too. It's tough on every instrument.
Yeah. So that was a good decision in two ways.
Yeah, absolutely. I forgot about that.
Man.
Yeah, that's definitely one of my favorite tracks.
Yeah, we played that every show. It was awesome.
Yeah,
that was one that we didn't get tired of. I think I didn't get tired of playing that one.
No, because I think we also started taking liberties with it, because especially like the breakdown at the end, we just started getting very silly with it. We like changed it to a Clapton riff for like a year and a half, and then
it was a Cream riff.
Else.
Sunshine Love.
Yeah,
I always expected to end with the Clapton riff. Still,
I didn't know you guys had done that when I had my last show. You guys had been playing for a few months without me, and you didn't tell me that. So that the last thing I ever did with Too Late the Hero was a surprise Eric Clapton riff. I'm like, what the hell just happened?
And then Jared started singing the hook over the top of it too, and it was perfect.
I love it.
I still wish we did that. There's been 2 shows where like it's coming up, it's the last part of the set, and I had like motioned to Jack. I was like, we're going to Clapton riff. And he goes, we're not going to Clapton riff. I'm like, you do whatever you want. I'm going to Clapton riff. And then I just ruined the end of this. It's happened like 2 times.
The Clapton riff is back if we ever play a gig again. It's on.
Better be.
I should text this link to Duncan and Rick. Be like, just join the party.
Yeah.
No, don't do that.
No, don't do that.
I like this group.
They had nothing to do with this record.
They did.
Yeah.
They did. This is our
I mean, they can give us their unfiltered opinions. Be like, that song sucks.
Duncan wasn't even born yet.
Yeah, he
That's
was
true.
born.
he has my floor on that one, dog.
Oh my god.
Speaking of the song and speaking of Duncan, that was his like when he was like 13 years old and we played a show and Duncan was in the audience. He asked if he could play the drums to the song because Aaron was sick. Aaron, you were sick. Jack was filling in. And
Kevin was filling in.
Kevin was filling in.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was not good.
Kevin, you were playing drums that show?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was playing guitar.
Fuck.
Yeah.
But
It was something.
Duncan,
It was
who
definitely
like
something.
13, was like, "Can I come on stage and play that song on drums?"
We're
We're
like,
like, sure.
Yeah.
Give it a try. Huh?
Duncan, I love
It was whatever. I think I remember it being whatever. You know what I mean? Like
It was one of those shows that was
you
on,
got
on a
through it, and we were
Thursday
like-
afternoon, and
Yeah, I think we were just like, yeah, hey, song, I love the song.
Yeah.
All right, we talked for like a half hour about that song.
that's fine.
And the second track is Still Insists She Sees the Ghosts. I named these songs, and that's a terrible name.
I was gonna say, love the song. That I had a hard time with that name, man.
It's just hard. I
It makes sense.
actually like the name, I just can't say it.
Dude,
Yeah.
this track was a cool one on the record. I really liked this one, and we ended up doing we demoed this song like 3 times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did one at Berkeley.
Oh, we did. That's right.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
did one in Berkeley, and that one I remember that was like the worst thing because they'd hit the talkback, or the talkback was on like a mild gate or something. And I remember saying, because we're pushing Jared like nonstop to do this one line, and I remember saying, about to say to the engineer dude Ryan, I said he's never gonna do it, and Jared was like, "Why don't you come in here?" And
I
try and
vividly
do it
remember that because
because I was trying to say he's never gonna do it like this. Because you don't do well when people just hammer the same thing to you over and over again. You need like a second.
I just don't do well.
But even then, I knew that there was like a Jared flow, and like Josh had it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
most other people would just be like, go, 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 go.
Well, at that point, because literally, like, because this demo you're talking about that was post, Is This Thing On? Our first couple records, like, literally the only person who had ever recorded me, even in my shitty band that I was in with Nate before Too Late the Hero, which we shall not name because I don't want anybody to find those tracks. But like, I had never recorded with anybody but Josh. So here I was in Berkeley. It was like 3 a.m. We had driven there. We were with your buddy who I didn't know.
Yep.
And I'm like tired and I'm kind of writing the song at the same time.
Yep. Yep.
Super embarrassed and my voice is cracking and I know what I'm singing is bad. And then I hear through the talk back, he's not going to do it. You, fuck everybody. Fuck the song.
Yeah. God.
But the actual song, the very first demo of it was, again, we had just gotten GarageBand and Kevin and I were working on the vocals to this song. And Josh's huge contribution, which again made this song, was he cut like half of the vocals.
Yeah, we went super 4 years strong vocally on this the first time around, and there was like 150% more vocals than are currently on the song.
Yeah.
And the first thing
like,
Josh
what
did was
is
like,
this?
you can lose like 2/3 of this.
Yeah.
We were so excited to know how to demo vocals because normally I would just sing and remember and go into the studio. But we were like, what if we added this part and then I can overlap with this? Woo! Like,
I mean, there was the technical side of it, but also we were just kind of in a vibe where like the tasty hooks just kept falling out, and we were just like, put it in, it's good.
Yeah.
But Josh was 100% right when he was just like, he just took like a cleaver and was like, gone. Which even now when I listen to it, like vocally, that's still a pretty cluttered song. I
But
can't
it's
imagine.
cluttered, but it's organized.
Right.
Like that was the first thing I noticed. And there's like one of my favorite vocal parts that you have on that song is that little kind of ad lib you do in the last chorus where you go up above everything else. I'm not even going to attempt to sing it, but I heard that and I was like, I forgot he did that. That was like one of the cooler things I've ever heard you do.
Yeah.
That's another thing for anybody who's listening to this. Kevin and I probably everybody else like listened to the album for like the first time in years, like this week, and it was really fun, like hearing this stuff and remembering stuff we had forgotten.
Yeah.
The only thing I remember about that song is in the studio, and I fought Josh on this one, and I won. There's a China on beat 2 of the chorus. And I fought him on it because he's like, it's the only one in the whole chorus. Why are you doing like that? Seems so weird. And I'm like, it's because there's a group vocal on that beat and it's gonna sound cool. One, it's done. Just let me do it. And he's like, fine.
Oh yeah. I forgot that was in there.
Yep.
It's a super good accent of that like gang vocal. It's like
it was like one of the only times we had actual vocals done going into the studio. So we knew I was able to actually alter my drum part to accent what the vocals were doing.
Yeah.
Right.
A good lesson for any like aspiring songwriters. Don't do what I do, which is wait to the last minute to write your vocals, because then your band can do cooler things.
Correct.
You're going to hear that come up a lot of me being like, and then I was in the studio finishing lyrics.
Starting lyrics.
You know what? Fucking Kurt Cobain did that. I found out on that one documentary I watched that one time.
Okay.
How'd it turn out for him?
There he is. There he
God,
is.
I miss you, Aaron. But speaking of lyrically, like there was a lot of on this album, just whatever I was reading or watching at the time came through, and like I had just met some people that were struggling with anxiety, and I was reading Stephen King's It for like the second time, and that kind of all combined into the lyrics of this song, which is why it's called Still Insists She Sees the Ghosts, because it's a reference that no one will get from It.
When I saw It a couple of years ago, I was like, oh.
They made a movie.
It's like a remake.
On my shit. All right. Anything else about that song?
No.
We only played it like 3 times live, and I really love that song.
It just never went over well. Like everything kind of pointed to that being like a good live song, but every time we played it, everyone was just like,
it's a good groove song. Like it had a good groove, but it wasn't like high energy like a lot of some of our other stuff.
Yeah, I guess that's fair. In contrast,
it was a transitional song, because we should probably talk about this. Like prior to Statement, we were like Too Late the Hero was pretty solidly in like the emo camp.
Mm-hmm.
Like we would have considered our peers like Thursday and Taking Back Sunday ish. Yeah. And with Statement of Purpose, we were becoming like more of like a borderline metal band. Like I had just figured out how to scream like that year.
Yeah.
After just hollering for years.
Yeah, you figured out how to scream without hurting yourself. I think that was the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Like consistently. So as soon as I finally had that tool, I feel like everybody was like, we can finally write heavy.
Yeah.
So
that's what the revenge was.
Right. That was us learning how to be heavy. Mm-hmm. But that's why I feel like that's why I sequenced the album with this song second, because there was never any question that Hold Your Applause wasn't going to be the first song. I was like the out the gate. But then I was kind of like, for like the 12 Too Late the Hero fans from prior, like this is like Still Insists She Sees the Ghost was like a transitional song. Like it was more like a song that could have been on our previous record. Is this thing on?
Totally.
Yeah. And I still like, that's all positive. Like I love that song.
Yeah. Absolutely.
All right. Track 3, Life as Fiction. The song that accidentally became the single.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because it's hot.
It's hot.
It's hot.
This is the song I show people if I'm going to give them like a Like, here's what my band did. I'll show them that music video.
Yeah.
That's like the best.
That's the
best
best
representation
thing I've ever written. But every time I hear the song, whenever I would demo songs out and I had to like name the session file that I was demoing in, I always had like Netflix on in the background, and I always named it whatever I just happened to hear at that time. And they were always Office quotes every single time.
Or Family Guy.
Or Family Guy. There were two. One was Get Paid and one was Who Shit. And I think this one was Get Paid.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Is a Daryl quote from The Office.
Get paid.
And that's always what I think of the first time I ever hear the song. I also, listening through to this today, every song I could listen to and go, I know exactly what album I was punishing Jack on a loop with for 3 months when this one was written. And this one was the Maylene album 3. Because it's like, this is all I listened to during this song.
This one was fun to track too because the actual like rhythm part under the lead in the intro is really kind of hard. It has like this very weird like up bounce to it on guitar and bass as well. But you need to like let the palm mute go, and I couldn't get it by the time we were in the studio. So Kev played the intro parts, but had trouble playing the verses. So we just swapped
all the time.
Everything. Yeah, we were, like anytime there was some weird rhythm part, like I would end up playing it or Kevin would end up playing it. It was so weird how we switched off. But it was good.
The whole album, really.
Yeah.
I had a beat in that verse as well that I had just learned this Latin beat. It was like a thing on and I used the bell of my ride instead of a cowbell because we were going to do that, and then double bass under it. But it was a Latin beat that I infused into that verse.
That's it.
Yeah, so sick.
I have a really bad memory associated with the song.
Oh, I think I know what it is.
Jack knows where I'm going with this.
Mm-hmm.
But so when we were demoing, we demoed at Spin, and just the nature of the beast. If you're tracking vocals, the track is in your ears, and I'm singing in a room, so the people hanging out in the lobby could just hear me, but not hear what I was singing. And so I'm working with Josh, and I wrote, in my opinion, the best hook I'd ever written. Like the hook of this song is hot, and like me and Josh were feeling it, and I was like, "This is fucking great!" And I walk out of the studio, and I'm like, "Guys, you got to hear this chorus." And Jack is like, "Fuck you! It's the
national anthem."
National anthem.
You're so patriotic.
Dropped. And I was like, "What?" He's like, "We cannot use this chorus. It's fucking national anthem. And it's stupid."
I never even realized that.
Well, it's not.
It's not. But I can.
I mean, the intervals are similar.
If
you're
I can understand how. Yeah, if you don't have any instrumental context, you could take that pacing and the intervals, the down and then the up, to be like, "Oh, it's a national anthem."
Oh, say can't the rock I stood on turned.
Like, the trading one life at a time is "Oh, say can you see."
Oh, really?
Yeah, the trading one life at a time.
You just ruined this fucking song.
Say. Now, for anybody listening, we've just ruined the song.
But in context of the song, like I remember very specifically, Dustin was like, "It really does sound like that," and then Jared, you were like, "What the fuck? Am I like ear blind to this?" And I was like, I think in context, like both Josh and Jared think it's really good. So in context, let's wait till tomorrow. Unless like you want to play it now, and Josh is like, I'm fucking out of here. No way.
In your defense, Jack, to be honest, like you 180'd completely when you walked in and we played it back for you.
Yeah, I was like,
again, you were only listening to my voice from like the other room, but when you walked in, we like blasted the track. Everybody was kind of like, "All right, it's not the national anthem. It's pretty fine. Okay."
But I know it's awesome.
From like 100 to 0. I was like, "This is the best thing I've ever written." They're like, "Fuck you, it's the national anthem." I'm like,
yeah.
This song also has the hardest drum part, and it's Kevin's fault.
Sorry.
The breakdown. it's offbeats with the hand, and then you have to start with the left foot on double bass.
You can be mad at me all you want, but you can also thank me, because anytime any drummer saw you play that, they were entirely on your dick for the rest of the day.
That's so true.
Yeah.
Thank you for all the dick rides I got.
You're very welcome.
So many D rides.
But this and the memory of the song is always tied to the video too, because our record label had long since fallen apart, and we had this awesome album. We knew that no one was going to do anything, and I kind of convinced you guys to let me try shooting a music video. And this is the first music video I ever shot. I went on to shoot some more, and I kind of still love this video. Like, it's super bare bones, and it's just us playing in this abandoned like post office in Sanford, Maine. Yeah, but I kind of love it, and like we're all jamming so hard.
Yeah, it's of the time. Like there were like, I mean, that was a video that would have come out from any band at the time.
Oh yeah,
like you killed it, I thought. And I got so sick. I puked Taco Bell that night.
You did.
I sucked in too much of that dust when I was sleeping. Lord knows what's in that dust, dude.
So many dry heroines in that dust.
So many diseases.
I got all hepatitis from that.
You might be immune to COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you were in the Sanford post office, don't worry about what's
for sure. We're set.
Another thing that helps with that video, and I mean this with all due respect to every band out there in the world. I love you all to death, baby. But we kind of never looked cool.
No.
But that kind of saved the video, because when I watch it now, we just look like we do now.
Yeah,
like we didn't look
true.
Stupid.
I'm fatter.
I'm way fatter.
I'm fatter.
It's true for everyone except for Jack. So
yeah, fuck you, Jack.
He's still back there just crushing Baja Blast like.
I'm like a teacher, and I have kids come in and be like, "I watched your music video," and they're polite and they don't say it, but I almost feel like I need to be like, "Yeah, I know I was thinner back then." I know I look different.
30's coming for you too, kids. Don't worry.
Anytime I show anyone the anything with the band, they're like, "Oh wow, I would never have guessed you were ever in a band," and I'm like, "Terrific." I'm glad that
it's because you don't have the crap stash anymore. If you did, they'd be like, "Yeah, you're in a band."
I show everyone that picture though.
Yeah, thank you so much for that.
And I'm hoping that someone says, "Oh, that looks good." No one ever says it looks good, and I'm like, "Well,
we've always said that looks so good."
Yeah,
you guys were all part of the bad idea crew, so like,
yeah. Well, like Nate doing fucking like weirdo.
Yeah, so good, so good.
Yeah. Nate doing anything weird with his like goatee or mustache was like my kink for sure. Like anytime he did something fucking weird, we were like more.
Remember when Nate introduced himself? Deadpan. He was just like, "What's up, man? I'm Shit Goose."
Yeah, to the dude in Freya, fucking Earth Crisis.
Dude, that dude like took it. He was just like, "Awesome, man. Nice to meet you, Shit Goose." It was so good. Like, it just
like right
exchange. Yeah,
you made me so proud. Like, Carl from Earth Crisis is like a hero, and you're like, "I'm Shit Goose." I'm like, "Fuck yeah."
Oh man.
All right,
what's next?
Next
The
song,
Hunt.
the most controversial song on the record. That's a little song called "The Hunt."
All right, so I'm gonna take the reins on this because there is a very good A and B story to this song that I didn't know the B story existed until last night. So this song used to be a completely different song, like soup to nuts, like not even a heavy song,
completely different.
I wrote it about a girl that I had a thing for when I was a tweeny little 19-year-old, very tweeny 19-year-old who didn't know no better, and
you never meant it to be a Too Late the Hero song. You just wrote a song for a young lady.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much all it was.
Yeah. And then I, one day digging through your computer, this is 3 years later, Kevin's now in the band living at my dad's house. I'm digging through his computer looking for a different demo, and I come across said song named after that girl. and I listened to this hot little pop song that my boy Kevin wrote. And I'm like, Kevin, do you mind if I like redo the vocals and sing on that? And you were kind enough to like let me demo that.
Mm-hmm.
Then, couple years later, or maybe like 2 or 3 years later, we now have a record deal. We're submitting demos for our album, and like we were just talking about how this album is heavier than we had been. The label was kind of stoked with our songs, but they're also like, I thought we like signed an emo band. We want some singles, which is a fucking joke that they're even thinking about singles, considering the label stopped existing 3 weeks later. But they had like an idea, they wanted singles. So we sent them The Ground is Lava. We were going to redo that. And then I remembered that little pop song that Kevin wrote. Mm-hmm. And without telling him, I just submitted the pop song as a possible single. So then Kevin, when we get to New York.
So then fast forward. So the girl that I wrote the song about had sent it to a mutual friend of ours, who then got a hold of me, and he was like, hey, isn't that this song? And I was like, what the fuck? Flashback however many years. I had heard. So the short version is I essentially lifted, not intentionally, but lifted a friend of ours song. And it was a buddy of mine who was in one of his other bands who played me the demo for that song twice in the car while we were going to a hot dog place. And then I never heard it again. I never listened to it. But the melody was super catchy. So then apparently I wrote a song with that melody, like same cadence, same fucking chord progression, same everything down the road. And then we're just about to start recording the song. And one of the mutual friend we had hit me up and goes, this is this song, at the same time that I think everybody else realized it was that.
We're in the basement studio in New York, in the middle of tracking our album. We're getting started on our single. And then someone's like, hey, isn't that this song? Because Kevin had completely subconsciously rewrote someone else's song. And we were like, fuck! Like it didn't go over well. We apologized to everything said to everybody. It was quite the controversy.
It got to the point where the band whose song it was, I ran outside and called him to be like, this is the situation. I don't know where this song is going to wind up. Are you cool if part of it gets used, if all of it gets used? And he was like, I'm not worried about it. Like, it was a demo. We'll figure it out. So it was a whole debacle.
Yeah, but what we ended up doing, we explained the situation to Josh, and we just we took the grid of the song and we changed the key, we changed the riff, we changed the melody, we changed the drum beat, we changed literally the entire song.
Yeah, it's totally different.
You didn't change the drum beat because I had left. I had left New York.
Oh my God, that's right.
And you sent me what, like, your dailies basically, and I was like, what is this? Why? You had completely just were like, well, we're not re-recording the drums, so I guess the guitar is gonna have to go along with what the drums are doing.
Yep.
But thankfully,
that was crazy.
You were the type of drummer like Kevin, like if we demoed a song and Kevin would like MIDI drums, you never played that anyway.
Right.
No.
So you still wrote new drums that didn't match like the accidental cover song.
Right.
So
not at all. Yeah.
We changed everything. I rewrote all the lyrics except the chorus that Kevin had wrote, because Kevin still wrote a song for a girl, so there were Kevin lyrics. I left Kevin's chorus because I thought if anybody at the label is listening, maybe they would still want the same chorus lyrics. But I rewrote every single other lyric, and it was such a debacle, and we were so mad at each other that we never played the song because we hated it so much. But upon revisiting, the song we built is hot.
Dude. So that was my first thought. The memory I always have correlated to this song is Jack, when we were rewriting all the guitar parts, and the chorus The chorus chord progression is very
worst.
On paper stupid, but in the context of the song, it's perfect. But I remember Jack sitting up against the door of Josh's vocal booth going, "This is fucking stupid." Like, just throwing an absolute temper tantrum about that rhythm.
Because the rhythm it's Batman, and that is just so fucking bad. I mean, it's fine, but like I was like, can we just stay on the chord? Do we have to go? But
I gotta say, I listened to it on the drive home, and I was like, if this song came out now, it would be a fucking heater. like hindsight being what it is, I was like, fuck, I'm mad that we hated that song because there was actually something to this.
There was so much heartache that went into creating it.
Yeah.
And we wrote it off the minute it was done. We're like, fuck this song, I never do. Yeah. And because we wrote the song in the course of rewriting everything, we were creating a new song, and the song that we were forced to create is good. Speaking of that riff, you totally like put me on the chopping block. That's another memory I have of the studio.
Oh, God.
I walk into the studio. Everybody in the room looks at me, and Jack goes, "Josh, play the riff." And then Josh goes, "Jared, is this good?" And they play the chorus riff. Everybody's staring at me like, and I'm like, I don't know. I think it's okay. And everybody was like, "Ah!" Jack, I think Jack's immediately was like, "Fucking fine, I'll play it."
I think Jack,
you know what?
I've seen Jack in those temper tantrums enough to know that he just wanted it behind him.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, let me tell you, boy, oh boy, whatever it is that I've done, I do apologize. Over the years, I have not been the easiest to get along with in situations like that.
Hey, me too. I remember this is like a quintessential. Oh, go ahead.
No, I just don't think that we had nearly as hard of a time as other bands have had.
No,
but I think I just missed those times so much now that I'm like, yeah, there was no bad times.
Yeah.
And then I just remember just being a dickhead the entire time. So
only when you were driving.
Oh, dude, that was my careening mood. It's fine.
Bands like break up and like hate each other after making records. Like we never stopped like being like best friends. We just be mad at ourselves for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
But,
the quintessential Josh moment from this song was in the studio. We wanted to do that and I didn't originally. I wrote it with closed hi-hats, but not a double bass to follow that thing.
Yep.
So Josh was like, "We're gonna have closed hi-hats, but you're gonna do," and I'm like, "How am I gonna do that?" And he's like, "We're gonna set up a second set of hi-hats off to the side that are closed. So you have your closed hi-hats that you can play on without having to step on the pedal. Then you'll have your open hi-hats." I'm like, "How am I going to do that live?" He goes, "That's your problem."
Always you problem.
There were two infamous Josh things, and he'll totally own this. So I don't mind him giving him shit about it. Is that's a you problem, and whenever he has to prove a point, like Jared walking into the studio and Jack saying, "Josh, play the fucking riff," he doesn't just click the keyboard. He goes,
there's a
little wiggle that he does to it.
Yep.
Every fucking time he's got to prove a point, he does it with his finger.
But I'm so glad, like all due respect to that song that that Kevin accidentally wrote, but like that was like a straight up like pop rock song.
Yeah.
The verse to the song, like da 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 da. That's like
the whole thing.
It's so hot.
I listened on the way home. I was like, "God damn it, this was really good."
I think it's that anytime you just you get forced into making something, you hate it because it's just never what you want. Like there's no vision. You're just walking. You're just going through it, trying to figure it out.
Or it like turns out super good and like you're really happy with it, but it was like exactly the opposite of what we were trying to do. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
That one was a tough one. Yeah.
What's the next song?
Dead and Gone.
Dead and Gone.
Yeah. Our opener for years.
Yeah.
After Tommy's suggestion, Dead and Gone and Hold Your Applause flip-flopped.
Did we used to close with that one?
Mm-hmm. Well, originally,
like 3 shows on that tour until Tommy was like,
Gotcha.
Then we did Dead and Gone for 5 years straight.
Yeah.
Yep. Kevin, this was another one that Kevin demoed front to back, and I freaking hated him for it because that
I was just
figuring
ripped
out
on
how to
Code
play that
Red,
on double bass sucked.
Yeah,
That was one that I spent like an hour like da 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 da. Oh, I just upset my dog.
And your fucking desk was like.
You always figured it out, though.
Really cool. That's one of my favorite riffs with that harmony that the guitars do is super strange too. I don't even know. There's like a chromatic note in there that you put in, Kevin, and it's like so strange, but it works really well.
I knew back those days. I knew enough theory to get me through, but not enough to do things like correct all the time. So I was just like, I think that feels right. I don't know if it's right, but it works.
Yeah,
I think you knew a good amount. Yeah, like that's the thing is like you like anytime I'd play something, you'd be like, well, that one there, that little fingy's got to move because that's not good. you knew. And then I had to like catch up a little bit.
You bypassed me quickly though. I listened to the solos on these records and I was like, yours are way better than mine by a lot.
I don't know.
I do.
Jack, you taught me a drum lesson on this song because you spent so long playing pop punk, the tap 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 like just a quick offbeat, and you were like, when you hit the crash, don't come immediately back to the hi-hat. Like give that crash a second to breathe. But da 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 da. So that was a good one. That was a good lesson to learn.
All right. Hell yeah.
Jack, I'm gonna ruin this song for anybody who's gonna listen to it after this, but like Jack, at the gang vocal at the beginning, the at last the truth. I laid down the demo for that, and Jack's like, "What is it? Sand blast my tooth. Sand blast my tooth."
There are so many lyrics on this entire album that we just took liberties with.
Yep.
That I forgot all about them. In Life is Fiction, there should be gnashing of teeth. Jack, what is it?
National teeth?
Yep. Thank you.
Well, that's because it was the national anthem.
Yeah.
National teeth.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Can we all agree? Can we all agree Nate's scream of "Dead and Gone" at the top of the chorus is the best?
Yes. Like that we've needed his own thing on any album.
After he left the band, I took over that vocal live, and I would always try to be him in that moment. I can't do it, but
Duncan's not so far off. Duncan's scream is like probably the closest to Nate that I know of.
Totally.
And, Dunky, I love you, but Nate's got the OG.
Dunky's so calculated because he's a front man. Like he'd screamed for years. Nate's has so much unbridled like rage in it.
Well, anytime I got to like yell something or scream something that I could actually scream and play, it was like my favorite part of any song.
It's like our favorite part. Like
that's fine.
I would talk with like Josh and everybody. Like anytime we're writing a song, it was like a balancing act because everybody loves your scream so much. We're always trying to write as much your vocals as we can, but since you're also playing bass, you always had to be like, can't do that. Can't do that. Okay, I will do that one. So it was always like what we can get away with.
Yeah. And like I'm usually like available, but I had objectively the worst scream at the time. So it's just like, I can give it my Kermit the Frog yell.
Yeah, no, they're all different. But like that was just me being angry, just yelling stuff.
So good.
That was really cool. Like I think just talking about gang vocals in general, one of the things that I think makes our gang vocals sound so cool is we all have drastically different yells.
Mm-hmm.
And they're all kind of good in a different way. Like everybody has like maybe one person's more hardcore, one person's more metal, but we all have like a passable scream that and they're all so drastically different that they kind of come together for like this real tough sound.
They just sound big.
Yeah, I remember being on tour and actually the dudes from Memphis Mayfire were like, so you guys have gang vocals coming off tape, and I was like, no, we actually have nothing coming off tape. And they're like, yo, what? And I was like, yeah, everybody makes a sound. So
it's coming out of our faces, dog.
Yeah. I don't mind, like, that's another, like, I don't want to throw other bands under the bus, and I'm not talking about Memphis. I'm just talking about in general. That time period of 2011, it was like a hot thing. Like, a lot of bands had a lot of stuff coming off of like tape. And I'm not talking about Memphis. I'm talking about just in general. A lot of bands did. I was like, didn't realize that. And to toot our own horn a little bit, we were kind of like a fucking rock band. We had click tracks, but other than the fact that we were playing to a click, the stuff coming out of the speakers was us.
Yeah. For those who don't know, coming off tape means something fake is coming off of a laptop through the speaker, something that no one is playing.
Something pre-recorded.
Right.
Yes.
Like some pre-recorded tracks is coming off, which is fine. And we didn't like make a decision not to. We just didn't know how to. So we were just a band.
Anytime we did it, it kind of was a nightmare too. Like they never got the right line level, even though Aaron's rig was like totally bomb proof. It was like, I can't hear it. It's like, yo, fucking plug into the DI box and shut the fuck up.
One song. What Jack is talking about for listeners, we had one song off of Is This Thing On? Called what the hell's that song goes? Fell asleep and woke up screaming.
Anyway. Wiedersehen?
Maybe. Anyway, there's one song off of Is This Thing On that had strings. So we decided we wanted the strings live. So that was our big experience with backing tracks. And it was just a nightmare.
It went so bad.
I don't know how other bands do that. So we stripped it down to like
808s
songs that we had 808s. Because we like
and the 808s for I believe the whole time, Aaron, you just triggered manually. You had a pad.
Usually,
right?
yeah.
We started that way, and then once we got it figured out, they came off the laptop because we had click tracks running anyway, so it was just easier.
Yeah.
But other than those
that came off that we needed though, like if we didn't have the 808s, it didn't matter. If we didn't have the strings, it didn't matter. Exactly. It does remind me of that one show that I was raging because there was a band that had two guitarists and a keyboardist. And the bass was coming off, and the keyboardist wasn't even playing anything. I was like, just don't play anything and play bass. Just jump around and do that. Like, why?
Or play the bass notes on the keyboard.
Right, like just do something useful. But it's just, it killed me, man. I was just like, you're right. You don't need the bass player. Yep, perfect.
To tie this back to Jack's original story with that conversation with Memphis May Fire, like, he was convinced that because it was very common at the time with bands that our gang vocals were coming off of like a laptop. But we're like, no, we have 5 dudes on stage and we have 5 microphones on stage.
And we just make noise.
Hollering in it, and it sounds fucking cool.
Yeah, it was very obvious when it became 2 microphones. Oh, shit.
I tried to block it. I'm sorry.
Your microphone's right here, so you burped directly into your microphone.
I thought I was this side. My bad, guys. Go ahead and mute myself for the rest of this conversation.
So yeah, basically, it was very obvious when we only had like 2 microphones some days, and I'd be like, it's just going to be Jared and Aaron, or just Aaron, because sometimes 2 microphones. So Aaron's just like, it's like I got the weight of the world on my shoulders, baby.
It was such I know we're going off the rails, but I don't care. It was always when we're playing a new venue and we're setting up, and I'm the vocalist, so I'm on like vocal duty talking to the sound guy. Whenever he'd be like, how many mics? And I was like, 5? And he'd be like, are you fucking kidding me? I'm like, I'm sorry.
The poor house guy.
He'd be like, I give you 3. I'm like, okay.
Well, that's why we started bringing our own at some point, and we had like a easy setup. Like Jared and I had our own mics. We just needed a line from them. Like, can you just give us a cable? If you can give us a cable, we'll be good.
Yeah.
They often couldn't even do that.
Like, what the I'm like, okay, well, luckily I brought an extra for you, sound guy.
Yeah, with all the adapters too, because like
became
I'm the dongle king.
Yeah.
But let's wrap up talking about Dead and Gone though.
Oh yeah,
that was awesome. I have one more story about Dead and Gone. Like this became a thing that Kevin eventually had to deal with when he started producing our later stuff. But Josh was like kind of eye rolling at me, like, you want the chorus to have the word vestige in it? And I was like, I swear it's cool. I'm like, it's like Bad Religion. And he was like, fucking sure. Okay.
Yeah.
But I stand by it. That's cool. This song has my favorite lyric I ever wrote and my least favorite lyric I ever wrote, because I'm a big fan of Glassjaw and I love that first Glassjaw album, even though there's some some problematic lyrics on that. So I wrote a very problematic lyric in this song that I actually kind of apologize for in a later song, but kids fucking love that part. I was telling Duncan, I had a conversation.
I know what it is.
Did you think about me when you were sucking him off?
I laughed almost off the side of the road when that one came on.
Yeah, so good. It's a very young angry man lyric, and it kind of like bummed me out like 3 months later. But I was telling Duncan about that lyric. I was like, I don't like that lyric. He's like, dude, I fucking love that lyric.
Yeah, great. Same, still.
So it's a crowd pleaser, but I'm kind of like,
It's always about the delivery. You can get away with anything if you can deliver it right.
Oh, that song also was the birth of me doing like every low harmony, or pretty much any like harmony, because Josh was like, "Dude, get in there and do the low harmony on this chorus." And I did it, and Josh was like, "Oh yeah, okay, this is gonna be nice for me."
Another thing I guess we can talk about during this song, but just Too Late the Hero in general, starting with this record. I think this is the record where we realized that basically everybody can sing. So if there was a harmony to be done, like usually like a singer will sing a lot of their own harmonies. And I do a lot of the harmonies on the album, but whenever possible, we started farming out harmonies on this record. Was this the one where we started farming out harmonies?
Yeah, I did a ton of harmonies.
And it's really cool, like way better. Like,
and there were even some, there were definitely some parts that were like side parts or background parts that whoever was going to do it live did it on the record.
Yep. Mm-hmm. That was really cool too.
But yeah, it's more rare for a band to have anyone other than the singer do the harmonies.
Yeah.
All right, next song, Ground is Lava. This is the third time Too Late the Hero recorded The Ground is Lava.
It's the 50-year anniversary of The Ground is Lava.
Yeah, definitely.
That's because this was, like I was saying before, this was the other single.
Yeah.
This song is 15 years old. For real. 15. 1-5.
Wow. Bananas.
Yeah. What does that mean?
Great song. It's just one of those things that, I know for the people who've been in the band for as long as we have, it was just the one that we always played. So it was like, okay, and let's get this one over with.
Yeah. So. That's also because we like always loved the song, and since again we were like this album was actually going to be released internationally, which we were like super excited about. Like we were kind of like, I feel like the song needs a chance, because we knew we were always going to play it, so it would make more sense if like everyone in the crowd knew it except for like those 5 kids. And but that just means that we first recorded the song for a 3-song demo that had this song, Mike Caminiti Slip Me a Roofie, and Story of 2 Part 3. And then we re-recorded the song for Is This Thing On? And then we re-recorded it for Statement of Purpose.
Yeah.
And when I was in the studio tracking vocals for Ground is Lava, Statement of Purpose style, like I just sang the song through once, like front to back. And Josh, I've been singing the song for years, and Josh is like, I don't know, sounded like Ground is Lava to me. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, he's like, perfect.
He's like,
changed one lyric.
You like it? I'm like, yeah. Like, I guess let's go. So then I like sang it again so that he had like options, and that was it. I just sang it twice.
Yeah, you changed the to your new, and that's the only thing that really changed.
Right. And he had to give me a talking to before the second time I sang it, because I had sang the song so many times that he was like, you are like over pronouncing consumed.
I remember that.
He's like, can you like stop?
Because he said
every single syllable.
assumed. It was assumed that he didn't like. He's like, I don't know where you've got this consumed. It's like this regal thing you're doing, and I fucking hate it.
Oh, I got on Jared for trajectory.
Yeah,
It made it. It made it to the album. I hear it every time. What's a trajectory?
hey,
I think I still say it that way though.
And if he didn't before, he's going to keep doing it now.
That's my nuclear.
Oh,
Aaron
this was
has
the
left
first of 3 songs that Jared wrote about one of my girlfriends.
yes.
Dang.
I mean, sort of. I mean, I haven't really talked about song meanings much on this, but like with the way I write lyrics in general, like there's like a incident that's like that starts the whole thing, an inspiration. But then I just write like about other things. Like there's the thing that like gives me the idea, and then I just kind of go off wherever the song takes me. Like there's a song later that I'll talk about when we get there. But it was about finding out that a hero of mine broke edge.
Yeah.
And as a young straight edge kid, that really upset me. But the song isn't about people breaking edge. The song is just about meeting your heroes. Like, you know, like it kind of like goes in its own way. So it's only kind of about your ex-girlfriend. Only sort of.
Yeah, because
Aaron is Captain Call Out.
I will say,
100% Sorry, Nate, go ahead.
No, when Aaron would be like, this song is about this person, and you're like the situation, you're like listening through it, and you're like, what does he mean by that? I don't remember that being in anything where you're trying to figure out what Jared is trying to line up with.
The best one, he did it in front of the person that it was like very minutely.
Yes.
And we were all in the room. And Aaron was like, "Do you think he knows this song's about him?" And me and Jack were like, "Well, let's go."
Yeah. Yeah, like we gotta get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Oh, frig.
Yeah.
Writing lyrics is fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. What's the next song? Oh, Statement of Purpose.
Hell yeah.
This one was Who Shit.
Who shit? That was the working title
for this one. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't remember that at all.
So I remember this song I immediately thought was so sick. And like I remember hearing this was like the first song that I heard like Kevin's Mercury switch kind of like inspiration coming through. Like
yeah, that's a good point because I was listening to it and I was like, I don't know what the fuck I was listening to when this one came out.
Yeah,
this one's
like,
also a very even 50-50 split of you and me though.
Yeah, like the chorus I think I wrote, and then that one was tough.
That's a you riff too.
Oh, that's one of mine?
Yep.
Oh yeah,
Jesus.
you're right.
Aaron, is your child okay?
when we were talking about Dead and Gone and I started doing bap 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 bap, I woke him up.
Yeah. I mean, I know.
I just feel bad for Kevin and Jack because like
I'll mute.
we're all used to it.
Yeah.
Like it's just we're used to that now, and it's like,
I'm
is it Mike? No, it's not my kid. I don't care anymore.
It's not. It's just funny to me. That's all.
Yeah, dude. Like I remember being really frustrated by that chorus because like it has a weird like pickup in it or something.
Yeah.
And I remember everybody being like, "This is fucking weird," and I was like, "Guys, I can't hear it any other way."
I remember that.
And I remember it took forever for us to kind of like make it work right. And when it did, I think it's like one of my favorite. And that fucking yeah, go for it.
Go ahead. Yeah.
No,
you first. Okay.
Well, I was gonna say the lead is weird too because the lead doesn't really do what the chords do either. It's like in a different time.
That's kind of like a bit of a signature thing that you do, though. Like I noticed that on all the songs that were more like heavily Jack, is the leads have a very like not dissonant is not the right word for it, but a style that's very different from what I would do in a good way because it helped keep spreading the album around.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. Because to switch leads like that between you and I is pretty unique. So like the songs do have a different texture on the lead.
Yeah.
If I'm doing them.
And even the solo, we split the solo down the middle too. Or did we go like you, me, or was it you took a half, I took a half?
I took a half and then you took a half.
Yeah. So this song was a pretty like organic 50-50 split, which I'm hyped on.
Yeah. It was weird because it's each of you have a 12 measure solo.
Really?
Which is, yeah. As opposed to 8. And I remember like originally we wrote drums like 4 on the floor, like for 24 measures. I was like, this is awful. And so I had to like I had to write fills in between, like towards, in each one that wasn't overshadowing the guitar solos. So that was fun, but God,
was so cool though.
I remember the first few times practicing, like
I love that part because I could just cruise.
I love making a cruise.
Make me cruise and forget where to come back in though.
No one listens to the bass anyway. That's fine.
I think I had a conversation with you, Nate, where I was like, because you get this like cruise and look on your face, and I was like, what goes through your mind during that time? You're like, I'm counting, you idiot.
Oh yeah,
that's not a cruise part. Yeah. No. I had to count you. Everything was hard to play until like 2 months after it. Yeah.
This song was one of the last songs I wrote lyrically, and it kind of changed the course of how I write lyrics. Like there's how I wrote lyrics before the song and how I wrote lyrics after the song. Because this was one of the last songs and my well was kind of dry. Like I was like, I have no idea what to fucking write about. I got nothing. And Josh actually had a lyric that he tried to put in a Lamb of God song and it didn't make it. And he was like, I have a lyric that I want to put in a song somewhere. Can we put it in this song? So he had the lyric, the bellows are pumping the breath from your own lungs.
Oh, damn.
And it was such a good lyric that I was kind of like, and he's like, since the song isn't about anything yet, I'm going to plug this lyric in. And it kind of like, I started writing lyrics around that without really knowing what I was writing about. I was just kind of like free associating or like stream of conscious writing. And everything I was writing, I thought was awesome. I was like, yeah, that's a cool line. That's a cool line. And meaning came afterward. Yep. And at the end, I was like, those are some of the best lyrics on the album. And it came so easily. And by the end, the song actually was about something. But like, I was like, why don't I always do it like this? It's so much easier. And everybody's like, yeah, why don't I always do it like that? Instead of taking 2 years to write mediocre lyrics. So, some of the best lyrics on the album that I'm proud of. And I wrote them in like 5 minutes and it completely changed how I write lyrics. And that's how I write all of the lyrics on like the following album. I would just kind of write what I thought sounded cool and like find what it meant to me later.
Yeah.
This is my favorite one to play on drums.
Really?
On the record. Yep. Yeah. It's weird. Like there's a lot of different styles in it, I think.
Yeah, that is true. It's very like, it keeps you on your toes from front to back. Cause that's how it is on guitar. I'm sure it is on drums too.
Like it all like runs into itself really nicely. Like nothing removes your like flow state through the song. Really?
Even though it is weird. Like I had a thing about I was going to mention the weird pickup measure it's not a pickup measure, but it sounds like a pickup measure at the beginning of the chorus. And at the end, it's the only time on the entire record where that's not in 4/4 timing. But it doesn't feel like it. It's in 3 and it doesn't feel like it.
It seems like it's breaking a lot of the pop song structure rules, but it's not.
Right.
Exactly.
And it all, like you say, like the pickup that's not a pickup, the beginning of the burn it all down. And you feel like the chorus starts with the don't wait up. But like so that should be like a head bob ruiner, but it just hits in a way that feels like it was supposed to. And I don't know. It's awesome.
Yeah.
It broke the rules without breaking the rules, and it ends up being fucking awesome.
And the title of the album.
And the title of the album.
I got to credit Josh with that one too, because I feel like that song was a lot more chaotic before we brought it to him, and he managed to keep all that chaos while still streamlining it in kind of an accessible way. So I feel like he saved our bacon on that one big time.
Yeah, I 100% believe that, because I usually have like firm memories of like the thing Josh did, but for this song I just kind of remember it being a mess, and then it wasn't afterwards with Josh doing pre-pro.
He just kept it on the rails. Yeah,
I'm sure there was a lot of things that he like tweaked.
Mm-hmm.
The one problem with this song was there was that break before the final chorus where there's like a guitar delay, and it's a pretty sizable length of time, and we could not get the timing right and stay in line with our click tracks with a real delay pedal. So we just had that come off tape. That was the one thing that was like guitars off tape. Yeah. And it was either that it was so quiet that you couldn't hear it, and we're like, oh God, nobody can hear this. And there's just this long pause and people think the song's over. They start clapping and it comes back in. Or it was so loud that it was like oppressive. It was, oh my God.
I don't know how bands have things come off of tape, because it's always a train wreck when we tried it.
They have sound guys.
Because I've helped so many bands set that up now, I realized that we never did it because it was way more work than we ever wanted to put into something like that.
Yeah.
So like, if there's not an easy way, we just don't do it.
No.
Yeah. Because there is.
I mean, there was a lot of like setup ahead of time. Like Aaron and Jared worked a lot to get, a lot of stuff set up ahead of time, just so it was easy to set up. But that was one of the biggest things for us, is just get on stage, get our stuff plugged in, and that's us.
We're very efficient in that way.
I mean, that's that the upside to us not having a lot coming off, except for like 808s, is oftentimes because Aaron's listening to a click and I'm listening to a click. If our system messed up, which it did all the time, the only people who noticed were Aaron and I, because we'd suddenly lose the click, and I'd kind of like look back at him in the middle of the song, and he'd be like, it's gone, and it didn't affect anything. Like no one noticed. Like if we started to feel bad about ourselves, like we're not a real band, we played a click track, I'd be like, me and Aaron would be like, no, we don't, half the time.
Yeah.
Like, you might not realize this, but that shit fails all the time.
It happened.
Muscle through.
It happened enough where something would go wrong that I rigged a foot pedal to be my space bar. So I wasn't having to try to like find the space bar while playing drums. I would just tap that little pedal and it was off.
A lot of this is also because we're poor, so we couldn't afford like the real way to do this.
That didn't really exist even then, like it does now. Like,
right.
God, there's so much just like, I mean, people did like really janky stuff with like mixers and adapters.
Yeah.
All sorts of shit. And now there's actually like, that's just a very big part of live music now, or
it
was.
is. Yeah.
We're even, Aaron, like we gave, since you knew how to set up your laptop and for just the purpose of our 808s, like if you see Too Late the Hero in like 2000, well, it was pandemic 2020. In 2019, if you saw Too Late the Hero, we don't have 808s anymore because our rig consists of an iPod with clicks on it. Our drummer Rick, before the song, just got a little iPod. He's like, that song, whoop, and then the little track starts.
Just going back to the original, man.
And it takes them 8.5 minutes to find the next song every time.
Yeah, that's true. I'm like, that song is Statement of Purpose. Rick's like,
and we're like, Rick,
every fucking time.
Holy shit.
We're very professional. All right, what's the fucking next song on this album?
Scary How Fast.
Scary How Fast.
In my opinion, the best song on the record. Not my favorite song, but it's the best song on the record.
Yeah.
It was our only radio single.
Yeah.
Was it?
I
Really?
wrote this one, I think, didn't I?
Yeah, this is 100% a Jack song.
This one came together in one practice.
Yeah.
I remember.
Yeah, because I had we jammed it, and we were very rarely jammed stuff.
Yeah.
But this one, I had like a couple leads, and then Kevin always had this nice knack for kind of coming up with a like a 3 or 4 note chord that he'd like arpeggiate underneath like a bass line or something. And I really liked that. And then it came together super quick. I remember my buddy Clint was in town, and it was at Kevin's parents' basement. We just worked it out.
Yep.
I love the song so much too.
It's so
this
good.
chorus, It's one of my favorite choruses we've ever written. Like, there's something about, like, I don't know. I don't really have much to say about it other than, like, it just hits me in a like in a melodic place that I really enjoy. Like it's how fast it goes from ripe to. I even like the lyrics. Like, I don't know.
The lyrics are good. This is the only song I listened through to every song on this and thought of things that I might change if I did it differently. Now, this is the only song I was like, nope, wouldn't touch it.
I remember there's a part in the bridge where it's the only time I ever do 4-way independence. So each of my limbs is doing a different thing. And I wrote it, you can't hear it on the album. It didn't like cut through the mix, but my left foot is going with, just like clicking the hi-hats. My left hand is just hitting rack tom. My right hand is ting, 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 ting. And then my kick is just doing something up. And then I didn't play with a splash cymbal until we got into the studio. Josh was like, put up a splash cymbal. I'm like, okay, I guess. And he's like, while you're doing that, I want you to go dun, 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 like doing like a offbeat on the splash.
That's bullshit.
It doesn't sound complicated when you hear it on the record, and it was one of the hardest parts to play in reality.
I really like that verse too, because you and Nate are so fucking like locked in too. And it's not just like the grid talking, it's like Nate had a good, like the bass line is really nice because you're not picking every like note. There's a hammer in there and it kind of like pumps the verse really nicely with the like that closed hat. And that's a cool song.
Especially considering that in those verses, you and I are both playing lead. So there's not really a rhythmic element besides Aaron and Nate through those verses.
Nate and I, from the beginning, like in 2003, like that was the first time we'd been in a band together, and both of us, like, we just like clicked instantly as far as how we played, and our styles just meshed together, and we ended up just being kind of like in lockstep forever.
Yeah. Yep. Well, I remember thanking you the first time like we practiced together, and I was like, you played the same thing. That's amazing. No one has ever played the same thing twice. And again, there's something to be said about jamming and stuff like that, but like, with the type of the music that we were starting to play, where it was very, more technical, if we're just, playing two different things, you guys, like the guitars can't do, you don't have that openness for you guys to work on that stuff. So
right.
Go take it back to those early 2003 practices. Like you guys actually like there was like physical contact because you used to take off your shoes and put your foot on his kick drum and like feel it. You were feeling it. Vibing so hard, Nate.
That's because we played too loud in that like tiny room with all the couches that you couldn't hear anything.
Yeah.
No.
We for those who listening or watching, we practiced in my dad's basement from 2003 to 2014.
The entirety of my time in the band.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, we moved around a little bit, but we always came back to old Gary's pad, dude.
I know.
Yeah. We played at my parents' a few times, especially at the beginning, and then moved over to Kevin's house for a while, and in Nate's dad's garage for a while. But yeah, Gary always let us come back.
I'd still go back. Oh boy.
We also have to mention before we move on from this song has Josh singing on it.
What?
In the bridge where we like layer all the vocals like with that like the stack. Josh was the one with the super high.
Yeah.
That's Josh?
That's Josh because I demoed it and it didn't have the vibe. Like Josh was like, I want like the 80s, like, yeah, and he did it. He's like, Jared, do that. And then I was like, why don't you do it? Because that was perfect. He's like, can I?
I had no idea that was him.
He was so amped up. So that like at the very last one, he's like, yeah. That's Josh just having the time of his life. Like
that's wild. I also forgot that this song had a throwback lyric in it too, Jared.
That's right. I wanted to put in the "Believe You Me" for like anybody who because that was the first song Too Late the Hero ever wrote. "Believe You Me," and Jack has that line. Jack did the call and response with me. Jack was like, "Believe you me." You sang that, right?
Yep.
All right. Yeah. I was like, I don't know. All I know is it wasn't me. I think like it was Jack.
It happened.
Yeah.
Someone did.
All right, what's the next song?
Left is your reflection.
Left as your reflection. I love this song.
I love this song.
But I feel
Yeah.
like I want to ask Kevin because I feel like this is a set list argument always. Because this is one of my favorite Too Late to Hero songs ever. I always put it in the set, and Kevin's like, I don't want to play that one.
So, God damn it, you're gonna put me on the spotlight. For a couple of reasons, and neither of them I think are justified now that I can look back on it. But at the time, it was the first being that whole lead thing that's like in the intro, it's in the theme part of the song, it's in the chorus. That was just like a warm-up thing that I had that I just looped all the time, like before practice or whatever. And it made it into the song. I don't remember how, but there was always a part of me that was like, go ahead.
Wasn't it also one of, because you of this lineup, you were the newest member. Was this the first song you ever wrote with Too Late to Hero?
No. Well,
no, it was
from scratch, maybe. But what's the fucking one on the Revenge with the big old chorus?
Well, this song's on the Revenge.
I know, but there's a different one.
Sleeping with the Fishes.
Yes.
Or, what is that?
That one was
Joe
partially
helped us write that.
Yeah, but that one
Call
wasn't
out
finished
to-
when I came in, and so we finished that one together.
You're right.
Yeah.
Call out to our boy Joe Spiller. He was in the band, and he kind of saved the band from breaking up when we lost both of our guitarists after Is This Thing On.
Yeah.
Still Love You, Baby. But yeah, we started writing that song with Joe, and you helped us finish it. But I think Left Is Your Reflection was the first one we started.
I think you're right.
How that ended up in there.
Yeah, so that was probably like, well, I know this thing that I've done forever, so this can go in there. And it was also me coming from a very different, even though I was like super young and didn't really have a background to speak of, the kind of stuff I was playing before I joined Too Late was not Too Late, even though I loved it. So everything on the Revenge, this song included, was me and Jack's, well, at least for me, it was my best effort to try to write what I thought a Too Late song was. And then as we grew past that, and I started writing songs for Statement, and then Jack brings in Scary How Fast, and like we all start coming up with all this different stuff. I'm like, that's junk. I don't. And then when everyone wanted to put that on Statement of Purpose, I was like, we're past that. Like we're past that. I'm doing better now.
I love that.
It's so good. I love, like, that's another one of my favorite choruses ever. And I know part of that, like, I just happen to like, everybody happens to listen to themselves first. Like, I just happen to like my melody a lot. But I always liked, like, the song does interesting things. Like, who is responsible for the post chorus where it suddenly goes major?
I don't know, but I hate it.
I wrote that. Yeah, that sucks. That's like
Well, fuck you guys. I thought it was neat.
Well, that's the thing. We did it at the time because it was neat, and I listened to it now, and I guarantee Jack heard it was like, that should have been this instead.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. It's weird. It's weird. But fuck you guys. It's a good song.
One thing I really like about that song is the guitars are so in tune.
Yeah.
In the intro.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's just one of those things that, like, usually when they're that in tune, I'm like, this sounds like a keyboard blast or something. But for some reason, that one just sounds like awesome. And also the riff in the pre-chorus is really good.
That's a you riff, I think.
Nah, that's you.
Is it me? I don't know.
Yeah, but I did do that thing where it's like a hammer-on with one hand that goes all the way
that
up.
lift thing, and the second time, yeah, you did that. It's I guess, 10, because that song was probably written in 2008. Mm-hmm. So 12 years later, I guess I just have a tough time lifting the veil of, like, that song just being growing pains for me. I've never been able to shed that, so that's why it's always kind of like not been my thing.
It's also unusual because even though the song contains so many hot riffs, the theme riff, like what starts out the song, is more of a chord progression than a riff.
Yeah, it's a chorus.
Yeah.
Right. So, like, I can see how that, like, I don't know, like, I love it, and it's super in tune, like Jack was saying, because, like, since it is a chord progression, like, it showcases how, like, tight in tuning is, but like I could see as someone that doesn't play guitar in the band how you could be like, I wish it was a riff.
Yeah, it's not even that, honestly. Like, I don't know.
I did a cymbal mute in that chorus that to me seemed like just run of the mill. Like I hit snare and crash at the same time, and then I immediately mute that crash with the hand I just hit it with. And for some reason, I always got feedback from drummers being like, "How do you do that?" I'm like, "What? What do you mean? Like it's just how do you mute a cymbal? You just hit it and then grab it."
A really good mute, like for real. Like some of the shit you did blew people's minds because like if you muted a cymbal, it wasn't like like you actually was like it was quiet,
and you had the ability to do it with one hand. Most drummers had to do it like that.
You weren't
do it with the same hand.
You weren't scared either because your hands were always taped, so you just went for it. If you fucked up your hand, like it was true. Aaron Capel fucked up his hands, like you didn't care.
Just always hockey tape everywhere. I have a Band-Aid on right now. I have such sensitive fingies.
You go for it. Like to your credit, you just go for it.
Yep. And I mean, it's because like as a tribute to you, after you left the band, Jack started wearing gloves.
Exactly.
That's because he's so sweaty.
He's sweaty.
The guitar glove, man. I love it. Yeah. But you should just start answering those questions. Aaron will be like, how do you do that? Just be like, I'm dope, baby. All right. What is the next song?
Requiem of a Scenester.
Oh, what could have been?
Oh. This one is the worst song title on the album.
I also don't remember how this song was written at all.
I do very well. This was the last thing that was written for the record, and it wasn't done. We had the chorus riff. That was it, and we all loved it so much that we were like, we gotta find a way to get it on the record somehow. So when we were doing pre-production, we all like sat down and just like kept trying to just throw shit against the wall just to get a song on the record that had that riff in it. And what's funny to me is that chorus is banging, perfect. So wouldn't touch it at all. The verses, I don't hate them as much as I remembered hating them. I was like, they're not bad, you know. It's a fucking rock verse, whatever it is. I got to the bridge and I was like, this is trash. I heard that bridge. I was like, why did we do this?
It was
because we were out of time.
That's exactly what it was.
Yeah,
we were out of time.
We wrote that in Josh's small studio, like his like mixing suite.
Yeah.
With Aaron on the electric drums in the vocal booth.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's how we pre-pro'd that whole record.
Yeah, and we drank like actually 6 pots of coffee every day. It was like not good. And yeah, that was like the end because we were like really hammering that down and just we were all weird and loopy, and that's how I wrote that weird like harmony in the verse that runs over itself, and it's like a major second at one point. It's like, why would I do that? And I would never do that now. It's just like so strange.
I honestly think, and maybe it's just because we're all like, you know, older now. And Jack, you're going to agree with me on this. Aaron, you might not. Is I think that verse would have been way sicker if it was just like boom, bop, like no extra kicks in it.
It could have been.
Maybe.
I'm not going to argue with you on that.
It's hard to say, to be honest.
It's hard for me to not go back and like, what could we have done to save
the song was just frustrating to me for exactly what you were saying. Like, there's like such hotness in the song. It's like our highest highs and our lowest lows of the album.
Yeah.
Like we had such cool things, like you were saying, that we like cobbled together what we could to have songs with that in it. Bye, Kev. I don't know.
We never played that song live except on the Lamb of God tour for some reason. Like I feel like we thought it was metal, like one of our most metal songs, and that Lamb of God fans would like us.
It was it was kind of the closest thing.
Yeah,
I mean that was the big argument, and in retrospect, Josh, you were 100% right.
I love this.
The big argument with Josh for me when I was writing, so you guys wrote the music, and then when I was doing vocals, like it was a very unusual verse for us, and I at the time especially, I felt like I had a very limited toolbox vocally, And we kind of came up with that verse, and I didn't like it. And Josh was like, what is your problem? Why don't you like it? And I was like, it sounds like a fucking Avenged Sevenfold part. And Josh was like, God forbid you write a song like Avenged Sevenfold. They're only like a platinum selling biggest band in the world. And I was like, but I don't like it. Like I was like super shitty about it. And the thing is when I listened back to it, like I said, he was 100% right. And if I had just like believed in the vision, I could have done it better and sold it better if I had like believed in the direction.
Yeah. Okay.
Stupid.
You know what, Jared? I don't blame you for one fucking second, because he is such an antagonizer, and he just was like, no, it's sick. And then he kept saying, no, do your best David Draymond from his shirt. And then narrow your eyes and glare with disgust. He's like, do your best Draymond there. And you're like, what the fuck is this? This is and I was like, and it's like, of course you hate it, Jared, because he's saying to do a disturbed voice on one of your songs. Like, of course you're gonna hate it.
But that was 100% his fault, because I'm constantly punishing all of you guys with like singing in weird voices. And one time I did it, Draymond, and you guys, I don't know if you were joking, but you're like, that's actually, first of all, Jared, you don't sound like David Draymond, and that is dope.
We were not kidding. We were decidedly not kidding.
He was
and
trying.
You did it all over the subsequent albums.
Yes, because you guys like found a way to describe it to me that wasn't do your fake disturbed voice.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that was not the direction to give you.
I was like, fuck you guys, this is stupid. But the chorus, like you guys were saying, the hot chorus riff, it's also like the only chorus we ever wrote where like the hook is screaming, which is very nu metal of us in a awesome way. Like
very Mudvayne.
Very Mudvayne. And that's why it's the Avenged Sevenfold verses and the Mudvayne chorus that made us go, maybe Lamb of God fans will like us.
Yeah. We can get booed off stage. That's good.
I got hit in the head with a beer can, I think, during that song.
No, beer bottle, and you threw it back.
It was plastic.
That was it?
Yeah, it wasn't glass. No way.
I'm pretty sure it was a can, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I got concussed.
Oh no, it was one of those fucking aluminum bottles.
Oh, the tall Bud Light boy.
Yeah,
I think you're right.
For anybody watching, we ended up on a 5-date Lamb of God tour. That was Lamb of God, Acacia Strain, and us. And within that 5 dates, it was like every type of crowd response you could imagine. The first show in New York, they were like perplexed. Like they didn't hate us, they didn't like us. They were just like, huh. Then was Philly next.
Boston was next.
Boston was next.
That was awesome.
For some reason, they loved us.
Boston
popped off at a Lamb of God show. I still have people who come up to me like, hey, I saw you open for Lamb of God at the Paradise. It was dope. Like they like loved it. And we couldn't have been more excited. We like hopped off the stage. We're like high-fiving, hugging people like, thank you for liking us. Yeah. This is the greatest thing of our life.
And then the next night was fucking hell. That was the only set I was just taking shots. I was taking shots that whole set, Philadelphia. They were like, fuck you. And I forgot, they were calling Jared like some redheaded like slur. I don't even know.
There have been many homophobic slurs thrown at a hero over the years.
But here's the thing:
this deserves its own. This deserves its own story. When our label, the label that we released this album, was Chris Adler from Lamb of God's label, and I remember warning him. He's like, I want this not to be a metal label. I want this to be like a real label that signs every act, like Columbia Records, and you're going to be our first signing. I'm like, yeah, but you need to understand, all your fans expect you to sign a metal band, and the only thing we had at that point was, is this thing on? So this big press release comes out. Chris Adler signs first band, Too Late the Hero. People, of course, go on YouTube and find that original Ground is Lava video. And they're like, forgive me for the homophobic slur, but people are like, who are these fucking faggots? Yeah. What is Adler thinking? And we're like, he told you.
Oh, yeah.
But still, I mean, that was obviously the best tour that we had as far as like.
And even the crowds that weren't super into us, as soon as we started like razzing them back, they were like, "Oh, okay, they're cool."
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay, yeah.
That tour was I feel like it's too bad that happened at the end of the cycle, because that's where I learned how to be an actual frontman on that tour.
Until you broke your ankle.
Thank you.
That was insane.
Yeah.
Like,
that was also the tour that you realized that all the dumb stuff that you put on your rider, and it shows up, and you're like, "Oh shit, really? I didn't think anyone would fill that rider."
Jack, what did I say on stage at Philly that like?
There's somebody who like there's like a group of people that were like, "Fuck you," and you were like, "What, you know, like?" You're like showing your stomach. You're like, "You know, like what you see." Yeah? It's just like,
and then you just flip the switch, and they were all in on it.
Yeah, it was like real deviant behavior, dude, and I loved it. Because you were wearing sunglasses too. That was like the thing that you would do from time to time. You'd put on sunglasses if you were going to be an asshole, and it was really nice.
That's good. Yeah, you told me that was like the character. That was like how you could be an asshole if you were sunglasses, Jared.
Asshole
I'm like, you know, like the band.
I forgot about sunglasses, Jared. I miss him.
Well, you don't do you do the worst like accents, so that was just not that's not an accent from anywhere. It's just like some bastardized like weird thing that you made up, which is even funnier.
All right,
we got off the rails.
Before we go, I think Requiem was the song that I actually like got thrown out of the studio for not being able to play the part, and Josh was just like, "Just go learn it." Go learn it. And I'm like, I'm sitting in
your defense, we had just written it that day.
What's that?
In your defense, we had written it like that day.
Yeah. But he's just like, it sucks. No, you just get out of here. Go learn it.
Also, to your defense, Nate, he wanted you to pick every fucking note.
Yeah.
So like, me and Kevin are playing like one every 5 notes, you know, actually like one every 3 notes, and you are expected to go like, come on, dude.
I mean, it did make me a better bass player. Just the sitting on the couch in shame.
That was another not my problem. He's like, you will play all downstrokes. All downstrokes. He's like,
this is not my problem.
All downstrokes.
Oh,
all right, we have one more song on this record, Wicked Self. Where did this acoustic jam come from, Kevin?
Sorry. I was going to mute it, but it would take longer. This one, I don't actually know. It was when I was actually still a guitar player and played guitar just to play guitar, which I haven't done in years. I think it just kind of started out of me just sitting on the couch at my girlfriend's at the time, her place, and I just started looping that verse part over and over when I figured it out. Sure. Yeah, I don't think there was any real like intention behind it. It just kind of happened.
I think I talked you into, because this is another thing I discovered when I was like breaking and entering on your computer. I think you like didn't want it to be a Too Late thing, but I was like, I think this will be cool. Can we please do something with it? And you were like, I guess.
I don't remember it ever being an intentional thing of like, here we need an acoustic thing. So I wrote this. I think I just had it.
Yeah.
I do. Was really good.
Yeah. Because I don't remember
that song with a gun to my head.
I didn't have to convince anybody else. Just you. Like, I think everybody else was like, yeah, that's hot. But like, you were like, I don't know if this is too late.
I completely forgot that the song picks up at the end. I forgot that it goes full band.
Yeah.
That hit me in the car, like as I'm pulling into my driveway. I was like, Jesus Christ. Like, I was super happy with that. I forgot that we did that.
Yep.
I remember when I was writing the vocals of that song, in standard Jared fashion, like I didn't have enough lyrics.
Mhm.
I had like 3 lines, and it was time to finish writing the song. And thankfully, Josh, again, saving the day on this album, Josh had just finished doing the Steve Earle album, which is kind of like folksy.
Yeah, that's right.
And I didn't have enough lyrics, but I had that line, Wicked Self. And Josh is like, like folk songs, they kind of have like a lyric they keep repeating. He's like, just kind of return to that, which used up a lot of space within the song.
Yeah.
And like, it kind of sounded cool. So like, that's how it came to that like repeating motif, just because I didn't have enough lyrics. And he was like, it might be cool if you kind of reuse that lyric and it became like a thing. And then that that opened up like the creative floodgates and I was able to like finish the song.
Yeah. It's funny how that works.
And like the big where it explodes at the end. That was another one of those. I sang that like many times, and it was very similar to what later on our later albums, Tracking With You, where you'd play like Psychologist with me, be like, you're singing about this. And then when you'd get me to where you need me to be, you're like, that's it. I had a situation like that with Josh where he was like, I wasn't doing what he wanted me to. And I don't even remember what he said, but like when I was doing the, 'cause I wear the blame. Like when we finally got there, he was like screaming in the headphones. He's like, that's the one. Like it's my favorite vocal performance on the album. That last,
you knocked it out of the park on that one.
Performance is insane. Like everybody says that is like the spot on the album where you really shine.
Yep. It's the sometimes it needs to be.
Yeah.
Like, I sang that like 1,000 times until he was like, that's the one.
That song caused a big problem for me at home because my girlfriend at the time didn't understand what necessarily did or did not go into writing a song. So she knew that I wrote it because she'd heard me play it a million times. And I think she just assumed that I wrote the lyrics too, because you write a song and you do that. Oh. So the album came out and she goes, is that about us? Are we okay? I was like, no.
No, that was also about one of my girlfriends.
Only kind of. Come on.
Only kind of.
No,
pieces.
There's also an alternate version of that song, Kevin.
The extended version.
With the solo.
Right. I got a solo for that song.
And
that is out on the internet somewhere. I think the label thing.
Because we don't own the album. And if when this is on Spotify, like I don't know who's going to get the money from it, but not us. But I think someone technically owns that other version because you own whatever demos happen. But we recorded an extended version and a bonus song, and we just put those on download cards and just gave them out at shows. So so whoever came to our shows and received one of those little download cards has the extent. We should say what the extended version is. We took where the song explodes at the end, we added in a blazing guitar solo.
Yeah.
And we honestly couldn't decide like which was better. We were like, do we love the blazing guitar solo or does it ruin the vibe because it's in the middle of the motion part?
I mean, it did ruin the vibe, but also I feel like we should have just left that on another track. Like, just if you're still listening, it's like 20 minutes later, and it definitely crashes in with a solo.
If this was 1997, it would have been a hidden track, like after like 10 minutes of silence.
Yeah.
Or if it was 1989, it would have been November Rain. Where it's just
it would have just been the song. I'm pretty confident it's on YouTube because after the whole label thing fell apart, I'm pretty sure I was just like, well, I'm just putting it on YouTube because it exists. So enjoy
I hope
it.
So. If I have it on my drive, I'll just send the link out to someone.
I have it.
If I can find
Nate?
Find it, I'll put the link in the description.
Was that the only bonus? You said there was another track. What was the other bonus track? Was there another?
We recorded Without a Fight, which was also on.
I forgot we did that.
Yep, that's another song. It was another song from the Revenge, because we recorded 2 songs from the Revenge. We recorded Left as Your Reflection and Without a Fight, the 2 good songs from the Revenge. And then when we were figuring out the track listing, we only wanted 11 songs. So we were like, we need to axe one of the Revenge songs. And I think that was kind of a fight, actually.
Kevin wanted Without a Fight.
Yeah.
And I think the reason
because I yelled in it too, didn't I?
Yeah, Without a Fight.
Yeah. I like that song because I yelled in it. So
thank you, Nate.
I think it's a better Without a Fight. I think is a better song, but it lost for 2 reasons. It's a better chorus, I think, too, but it lost because, one, I really like my lyrics in the chorus of Without a Fight. I hate my lyrics in the verse, so I was like embarrassed and I fought against it. And also, I'm an idiot dum-dum and I couldn't sing that verse. I would always get off time.
Oh, I don't even remember what the verse sounds like, but I remember that situation.
I couldn't for the life of me
find the beat, and I would always fall off, and everybody would end up rightfully hating me by the end of the song because I made us sound like dog shit. It just made us all seasick.
Yeah. It was all offbeat snares, and you were hearing the snares as the downbeats, so you were half a beat off.
And I couldn't for the life of me get on. So like, I was like, if this album does something and I need to play these songs, I cannot do this one. Yeah. But the funny thing is, once we started the system that we've talked about over and over again of putting clicks in our headphones, that happened on this tour. And I finally was able to sing that song, and we played it every night of that Lamb of God tour.
Yep, we did.
And it was awesome. I still don't like my lyrics in the verse, but they couldn't tell.
I'll have to go back and listen to it.
I remember when that song was written, I had a totally different kick rhythm through the verse that wasn't as good as what is there now. And when we recorded it for the Revenge, Josh just deleted my kick track and just programmed in what it now is. And when I got it back, I'm like, I can't play that.
I remember being in the room and like him going through, and I knew nothing about Pro Tools at that point. And I'm watching him take like, all right, so the kick lands on this 16th in this part, so I can use that, and like where all the cymbals lined up. And he's just giggling to himself because he's like, Aaron's gonna fucking hate me for this, and he's just moving the part around.
He's doing that Josh like
yeah, that's 100% what it was. I remember that.
Yep, I definitely had to spend a long time learning that one too.
So we just transitioned from talking about Wicked Self to the extended version to the bonus track.
We got it all, baby.
We got it all,
baby. That's the entire record. What we talked like 2 hours.
Yeah.
Yep.
2 hours. Yeah.
I knew it was going to be 2 hours because I miss you guys all so much, and I could talk with you guys forever. But thank you all for doing this. It really means a lot to me. And even if we're not recording it, can we just hang out and do this more?
Yeah. So down.
I'm fucking down, man. I miss you guys.
This is the initial podcast that we just started.
Yeah.
Weekly.
Hell yeah.
5 people watch it.
Yeah. It's
us
like
5.
Us, yeah.
No, thank you for setting this up, man. I think it's wild to think that it's 10 years.
Yeah.
I know.
It's been a while, huh?
And if COVID ends, maybe we'll play a show again someday.
Yeah.
Aaron.
Some of the best times of my life doing this record, for real.
Same.
That apartment, that shitty basement apartment, is some of my best memories of all time.
Yep. Even outside of just this record, that the period of time when you, Nate, and you, Aaron, were in the band were the glory days of my life. So
not to say I don't love, just like Duncan and Rick are 2 of my absolute best friends. Right. The cool thing about this band is, and one of the reasons we never really announce when we have member changes is like no one ever leaves the band in like hatred. Like I love everyone that's played in this band.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And like you guys, like when Nate stopped playing, it wasn't because we had like a big falling out or anything. It was just like my schedule at work is too much, and I can't play shows anymore. Like
you gotta make a choice, and And I made the right. For me, I made the right choice. But again,
Totally.
you always look back and you're like, man,
Right.
it was so
But it's
cool
not
living in the basement.
Right. It's
It
not
was.
like we stopped being best friends. And then like the guys who play in the band now, Duncan and Rick, they are in the band because they were our friends. Like
Yeah.
Right.
Too Late to
Exactly.
Hero is like, as far as I'm concerned, like you guys are still like, there's 7 members of Too Late to Hero. Like I'll play with,
Right. Oh yeah,
I'll play
Yeah.
with, I'll play with whoever shows up in any combo because I love all guys involved in making this band.
Agreed.
absolutely. Yeah.
So that
Yeah.
saying, Aaron, Jay, we're back in Maine. Let's play.
My kit is still there. Kevin still has it, I think. I hope.
Yep. No, I do. I got it all.
All right. I love
Fucking
every single one of you. I love Duncan. I love Rick. And I'll see you guys all later.
Love you guys.
Later.
Talk to you soon.
Peace. Love you guys too.
Bye.